Yes, so let's jump into Burnaby. There's a lot to cover here, and we are trying to make it as simple and as layman as possible. If you have a specific case, or if you have something trickier, or if you don't understand any of this, come talk to us privately. We'll kind of have more time and space to dive into technicalities. Now let's talk about Burnaby. So Burnaby launched it last summer, so they're about a year old in their multiplex, or they call it SSMUH. So this is actually a project that we're doing right now for a builder client. It's more of a they're coining this the cottage design. So it's like separate buildings, 4 separate buildings, 2 of which are duplexes, or like 2 units, and 2 are more single units, all with attached garage. So quite a nice project actually. We're excited about that. But basically, in Burnaby, low density residential is all R1s. So if you're looking for a lot for your client, or if you got a lot yourself, look for the R1s. 3 to 6 units are allowed per lot based on lot size and how close you are to a transit. If you get close to the frequent transit network, you can get up to 6 units. And I'll show you a map later. They removed the whole FSR restriction limitation, which is awesome. So basically, as much as you can squeeze within the side and front and rear setbacks and the height, you can do it. And from a density perspective, we've actually calculated, I'll show you later, Burnaby actually gives you more density than any other city so far because of this. So that's really exciting. Principal dwelling units can be stratified. You just can't stratify a secondary suite. Lane access is not required. That's nice because in Vancouver, you have to have lane access. In this, actually, this unit, this project, there's a lane. But yeah, even if you have no lane access, you can still do something in Burnaby. Off-street parking are relaxed, especially if you're close to the frequent transit network. There is a minimum lot size for subdivision and row house developments. Row house, I'll show you a diagram, is something unique to Burnaby, although none of my clients have went for that. So let's look at this here. This is the frequent transit network. So on the left, you will see this is actually, sorry, on the right is the frequent transit network. Basically, how they define it is, and okay. So what we're trying to show you here is if you go into Burnaby Map, which is their GIS, and you punch in the address, it will actually show you how many units. This is nice, not like Vancouver. Burnaby, it will tell you this lot is eligible for up to this many units. So that's nice. And then the frequent transit network map is on the bottom right. If you're close to any of these lines, you can get more density to 6 units. Okay, so here's some new updates for Burnaby. They have confirmed now that you can actually convert an existing dwelling or existing house into multiplex. This is awesome. I've actually had a few inquiries about this. Vancouver does not allow it. So you can't do a reno and convert it to multiplex. Burnaby, you could. Now, there's a whole bunch of rules around that, like meeting the current building code and all of that stuff, but at least there's a path forward for that. So that's nice. And then secondary suites do contribute to the total unit count. When this is important is when they calculate the fees on you, because even if a secondary suite, that counts as 1 unit, therefore there's a fee charge for that. Okay, so here's some typical scenarios that Burnaby allows you. It's similar and some different than Vancouver. This one, you've got 2 single-family dwelling units on the same lot, so 2 completely separate houses with a secondary suite. That's nice, all on the same lot. You can also have 1 duplex in the front of this diagram and then 1 single family at the back. So that's 3 units. And then you can have a duplex with secondary suites. That's 4 units, right? 2 duplex and 2 secondary suites. That's 4 units plus 1 single family at the back, 5 units total. And then you can have a triplex, so 3 of them all side by side. That's 3 units. You can have a multiplex, so 3 in front, 3 in back. That's 6 units. And you can have a duplex with secondary suite, so that's 2 duplex, 2 units. Secondary suites, 2 units, that's sort of 4, plus a single family home and a secondary suite, 2 more units for a total of 6 units. Now, okay, next slide, I'll tell you why that's important. this is an example of a diagram that we did for a site analysis. Basically, if you took a standard lot, 33 by 122 in Burnaby, we've put the setbacks in place here, and there's a lot coverage. So basically, if we were to max out our footprint, front building can be 1,200 square foot footprint, and then the back building can be 600 footprint. You can multiply that by as high as you're allowed. Assuming a perfectly flat lot, we can actually squeeze 4 levels into Burnaby now. So if you, sorry, 4 height, not 4 levels, 3 levels plus the roof. So you gotta allow a bit for that. But the beauty about this is if you take 1,200 multiplied by 3 floor plates, and you take 600 multiplied by 2 floor plates, because at the back you can't go that high, you can actually get a huge density. I think when we calculate it, what does this say, Bruce? This is 1,800. So on a 33 by 122, you can get 4 units. That's on average 1,800 square feet units.
Yeah, so it actually, depending on the lot size and configuration, you can often get over 1.3 or 1.4. I think at that point, usually you're getting into kind of, does it make sense to build a unit this big? But yeah, Burnaby doesn't restrict it that way, which makes it definitely gives you a lot more flexibility. And you know, they're really not restricting the typology. I think on the previous slide, Eric had 6 different types, and there's actually more. If the lot's large enough, you could even do 4 separate stratified single families on it as well. So there's a lot of options in Burnaby, and I can foresee in the future we're going to be seeing a lot more product on the market in those type of different types of configurations, which are going to make a lot more financial sense than building a single family or a duplex.
Right. Okay. So here's the rates. Basically, they've laid out all of the little, well, not little, all of the different fees. So they've got transportation, water, drainage, sanitary sewer, parks, fire, DCC, ACC. The total proposed, you can see, is based on this. If you're doing low density, that's more than 2 units, and it includes single family and secondary suites and duplex, that's low density. If you're doing a multiplex, that falls into medium density. And then high density are like more towers and stuff, which is not the scope of this webinar. But basically, you're either a duplex, which is low density, or a multiplex, which is medium density. And then you will then be able to figure out what they're going to charge you. Oh, sorry, I missed that one.
Yeah, so they do give you credit for the existing home. So if you were to build a duplex and you had a single family that you were demolishing, you'd only pay the $81,000 once. If you're doing, say, a 3 unit and there was a single family, then you'd pay the $56,000 twice. So you do get a credit for the existing home. You don't have to pay for that. At least, obviously, it's a big number, but Burnaby, in my opinion, has made it much simpler than Vancouver. They have one number. Vancouver has about 8.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where the unit type counts, and just keep in mind, although your secondary suite cannot be stratified, it still counts as a unit when they count the fees.